love him so. When he flips that dough, he's Pizza Boy USA.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube. And today, we are in the new 2020 Volkswagen Golf GTI, courtesy of Hanover Volkswagen in Hanover, PA. And so I do try to review this one every single year. Reason being is this car is one of the few out there to this date with some character in it still. For instance, the available plaid seats that we have today, that is awesome. Golf ball shifter if you go with the 6-speed manual, hence the name Golf. So it's things like that that make this car so much better when you compare it to its competitors, so I do love it. And not to mention, there are of course plenty of changes for the 2020 model year, which I will be going over all of them for you, as well as testing everything out about this thing. So what do you say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there are a few different trim levels for the 2020 Golf GTI. First one being the S, starting at $28,595, which by the way is a $1,000 increase over the 2019 model year. SE trim level starting at $32,195, and lastly the Autobahn starting at $36,495. And so regardless of trim level that you go with, though, the power plant on this little beast is going to be the same. Powering this one is going to be a 2-liter turbocharged and intercooled inline 4-cylinder engine, putting out 228 horsepower at 6,300 RPM, 258 pound-feet of torque available at 3,300 RPM, power sent to the front wheels through your choice of either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch, which by the way adds $800 to the bottom line, but that is actually the transmission we have today. And if you were to go with that 7-speed dual clutch, you will get paddle shifters that come along with that as well. So you guys know we will be testing those out in a little bit here. But overall, 0 to 60 time, car and driver puts it at approximately 5.7 seconds. Top speed 155 miles per hour, which is really a good bit for the size of the car that this is. And MPG numbers coming in at 24 in the city, 32 on the highway. Actually, regardless of which transmission setup that you go with, it's going to be the same. But either way, taking regular unleaded fuel, aka 87 octanes, that's a huge plus too. But before we do any kind of paddle shifter test or acceleration test, I did want to mention there are several drive modes for the Golf GTI. The drive mode button is located just to the left of the shifter, and so when you press that, you have modes like Eco, Normal, Sport, and Custom, essentially adjusting things like throttle response, steering sensitivity, suspension setup actually, and the shift points if you were to go with the DSG. Obviously if you went with the 6-speed, you're going to be adjusting your own shift points, but nonetheless, I do think you guys know what that means. I think it is time. Let's go ahead and push the shifter all the way to the back. That is going to give me that full manual shifting mode here, and it actually does tell you your gears on the digital display front and center here, so that's kind of cool. But let's go ahead and test out the paddle shifters here. I just want to see how quickly they react for us, see if the car actually decides to shift for us when we're in full manual shift mode. Some of them do, so let's go ahead and test all of that out, and we'll see what we get. All right, so now coming up to a red light, let's just do a quick little paddle shifter test here. I'm not going to get up too high in speed here. Speed limit's only 25, but still do want to see how quickly they react for us here, so here we go. Yes. Paddle shifters are instantaneous, as expected, really. Anything with the dual clutch, it's going to be insanely quick reaction times as far as shifting goes. So yeah, paddle shifters are 100% on point, so no issues there whatsoever. But let's now give control back to the GTI here. I'm just going to slide the shifter back one more time. It's going to give control back to the car, and let's now go ahead and do a quick little acceleration test here with the car having full control, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. Got a straightaway here. Let's hit it. Whoa, that's not bad. Oh my goodness, that is definitely not bad. Plenty of an acceleration. Actually pleasantly surprised me there. I was expecting much less, to be quite honest, but yeah, that was actually quite nice. I enjoyed that. I will say, I still feel like the 6-speed manual in the Golf GTI at least is a little bit more enjoyable than the DSG, although that DSG is quick, don't get me wrong. I just feel like the manual is done so freakishly well in the Golf GTI. I feel like I test drive the manual every year. Obviously, I don't have that this year, but still, both transmissions are actually quite amazing. I'll give it to Volkswagen there. I do think I prefer the 6-speed manual. That might be personal preference, honestly, though, for this one at least, because both are equally nice. But so anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so you will find 13.4-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 12.2-inch ventilated rear discs. There are red brake calipers for all trim levels as well. That's pretty cool. As far as the braking feel goes, it's actually very nice. Instantly stops this thing. Actually had a yellow light pop up on me back there while I was going through downtown, and this thing immediately brings you to a stop, so I absolutely loved that. Touching on suspension and handling a little bit, up front you're going to get a strut type front suspension, in the back multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. And perhaps the best part though, at least if you go with the Autobahn trim levels, you will get an adaptive damping system. And so that's really the best of both worlds. It's not only going to read the road's imperfections, giving you a smoother ride, but it is also going to firm up the suspension during heavy cornering, again giving you the best of both worlds, a little better handling there as well. So that is definitely something to consider. Also a VAQ limited slip front differential lock for all trims as well, essentially sending power to the wheel with the most grip. That's always a plus as well. As far as ride quality goes, just cruising down these very actually smooth roads right now, it's been perfectly fine. It's pretty much as expected for a compact or subcompact car, whatever you would consider the Golf GTI, but ride quality is definitely fine. Steering feel is pretty darn nice, actually. Much heavier steering feel in the sport driving mode that I've left it in my whole test drive so far today, so that is definitely on point. As far as cabin noise goes, you do get a little bit of road noise. It's pretty much expected for this segment though, so no complaints from me there, just because, you know, I would expect that. I love the engine noise. You guys can hear that. Absolutely amazing engine sound when you hit the gas. That is a huge plus when it comes to cabin noise. Now, touching on visibility, I can see perfectly fine out the back. Probably one of the better visibilities I've experienced lately. So visibility is 100%. Rain sensing windshield wipers actually come standard on all trim levels as well. So that's going to help better keep your eyes on the road so you can better enjoy the drive in the Golf GTI. So that is a huge plus, of course, as well. But that about rounds out the performance segment of this review. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of this white silver metallic 2020 Volkswagen Golf GTI. All right, here she is, you guys, the new 2020 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Let's go ahead and start up front on this one. Red trim accenting being found on that front grille, along with GTI badging, of course. To the sides, halogen headlights will come standard on the S trim level, which, by the way, I don't think I said that yet. That is the trim level that we do have today. LED daytime running lights coming standard with that, and you will actually find fog lights for all trim levels down below as well, integrated into the bottom portion of that front bumper. LED adaptive headlights coming with the SE and Autobahn trim levels, meaning when you're going around a bend at night, those headlights will swivel based on your steering angle, better help illuminating what is around that bend so you don't hit any wild animals or people or anything like that, of course. Then make our way to the side, GTI badging found on that front fender as always. Black window surrounds coming standard. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are power adjustable body colored side mirrors with integrated turn signals. And take a look down at the wheel setup, 18-inch 5-spoke alloy wheels coming standard for all trim levels down there as well. But then let's go ahead and make our way to the back. You do have a small gloss black shark fin antenna found on the very top of the Golf GTI, but just behind that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just behind that, you have that rear window wiper. Of course, GTI badging found on that rear trunk lid. LED taillights coming standard for all trim levels. That's definitely a big plus. And just below it all, dual exhaust outlets with large chrome exhaust tips, dual exhaust tips. So I think you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. So but now, since we are around back of the Golf GTI, when it comes to opening that rear hatch, there actually is a button on the key fob to unlock it. If you like, simply press that. But perhaps the best way to go about opening that rear hatch, and really the only way, is you lift up within the Volkswagen logo. And if you guys are familiar with the Golf, you already know this, but if you're not, this is probably the coolest thing ever, because there is no button back there for the lift gate. It is just something you lift up, you push in on the Volkswagen logo. It's kind of like hidden, like a spy kind of car, so that is pretty cool. But anyways, that's how you're going to go ahead and open up that rear hatch. But once opened up, cargo capacity is going to come in at 17.4 cubic feet, which actually is a pretty darn good amount for the size of this thing. There is a rear cargo area cover back there, and if that was not enough space for you, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for even more space if you needed it back there. Then make our way to the rear legroom. That is going to come in at 35.6 inches. So for reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. And by the way, this is me sitting behind my driving position. Just in case anybody is curious, I never alter the front seats to make it look like there's more space or anything like that. So this is legitimately how much space I have behind myself, essentially. But rear passengers actually have it quite nice, especially for the segment. Rear ventilation, you almost never see that in this size of a vehicle, because quite honestly, you probably don't need it, so that's going to be there. Rear center armrest with cup holders also coming standard back there, and front seat back map pocket, so you can put all your maps back there, although nobody of course is going to use any of those anymore. Anyways, making our way up to the front seats, Clark plaid cloth seating surfaces coming standard with the S. Again, absolutely love it. They're actually bolstered very nicely too, and they are quite comfortable, so definitely a huge fan of the seats there. And to go along with that, even on the base S trim level that we have today, we still get heated front seats coming standard. Those buttons are located just above the climate control buttons in front of the shifter there, but I love that heated front seats come standard on the S as well. Leather seating can be found with the SE trim level, and you will get on top of that a 12-way power adjustable driver's seat with power lumbar if you were to go with the Autobahn trim. And take a look at the steering wheel. It's definitely finished quite nicely. It is tilt and telescoping and is leather wrapped for all trim levels. You do have a flat bottom with the GTI badging found towards the bottom portion of that steering wheel. And I like the red stitching accents throughout the steering wheel too. It's definitely a nice steering wheel, and I feel like it's a little bit thicker than a lot of other Volkswagens, which is a definite plus in my book as well. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me first start by showing you guys the key here. It is actually a GTI specific key. You have that lettering on the one side, but then all of the buttons essentially are all located on the other side of the key. Lock, unlock, that button to unlock the rear hatch. And it is a switchblade key if you were to go with the S trim level, but if you were to go with the SE and Autobahn, that is going to give you that keyless access with a push button start if you wanted to go that route. But again, that's with the SE and the Autobahn trims only. But since we do have the S trim level, all I am going to do is simply put my foot on the brake and turn the key. And so, but once started up, tachometer is on your left, speedometer is on your right. There is a small digital display front and center to control what is on that digital display. There are actually steering wheel mounted controls found on the right side of the steering wheel. That's going to give you a ton of different things though. Things like a digital speedometer if you wanted it, safety information, audio information, Bluetooth information, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, when you need your next oil change, and the list goes on. Outside temperature is another one. So tons of things you can actually check out. Although it's a small digital display, it's got everything you need. So that's really all that matters. Taking a look at overall interior quality, a panoramic sunroof coming with the SE and the Autobahn trim levels. Illuminated door sills coming standard for all trim levels, along with interior ambient lighting. Dual zone climate control can be had with the Autobahn trim level only. And overall, quite honestly, it's pretty much as expected. It definitely gets the job done. Nothing too fancy, of course. Just in front of the shifter, you have a USB charging port and a little storage area there. Just behind the shifter, you have a 12-volt power outlet, dual cup holders. There's actually a little bit of storage space just under the center armrest here as well. So overhead sunglass holder up top as well. But overall, it is pretty basic, pretty to the point, and it gets the job done. And really, the Clark plaid seats make it all worthwhile in my opinion. But let's go ahead and take a look now at the tech display. 6.5-inch color touchscreen display coming standard. That is what you're looking at right now. And there is an 8-inch color touchscreen display available. Either way, you get Bluetooth and audio streaming. Either way, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, even in the S trim level, meaning if you have a smartphone, simply hook it up to the Golf GTI and you have free navigation displayed up on that screen, as well as the ability to like and dislike your Pandora songs. So that is definitely a huge plus in my book. Factory navigation system coming with the Autobahn trim. Of course, you can check out some weather and fuel price information up there as well, along with your radio settings. And by the way, here it is. When it comes to the sound system, 6 speakers are going to come with the S and SE trim levels. However, if you were to go with the Autobahn, you will get an 8-speaker Fender sound system with a subwoofer and 400 watts. And so that, of course, is not the one we have today. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out this 6-speaker sound system that we do indeed have here today. Sure, everybody driving by thought it was absolutely insane right there, but dang, That was old school. It's certainly loud enough, I'll give it that. Not a whole lot of bass going on, but it is a 6-speaker sound system, so it's pretty much as expected. Really, you get this car for the driving enjoyment, and to be quite honest, the engine sound does it for me anyway, so that's good enough. But then the last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that tech display at least is when you do put the Golf GTI in reverse, you will find a rear view camera for all trim levels across the board, letting you know who or what is behind you, which is always is going to lead us into safety. So let me first start on this one by saying the Golf GTI is an IIHS top safety pick when equipped with LED headlights. Therefore, the S is not a top safety pick because it has the halogens, but nonetheless, it is a top safety pick with the LEDs. But front side curtain airbags coming standard. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Also standard tire pressure monitoring system, but also standard a ton of advanced safety features, including forward collision warning with autonomous emergency braking, blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert. That's the little car icons in the side mirrors letting you know who was in your blind spot. Pedestrian monitoring system also coming standard as well. And if you went with the Autobahn trim level, that's going to add a couple other things, including lane keep assist system and adaptive cruise control. But anyways, that is about it for this one, you guys. Hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did making it. So feel free to follow me on social media at the bottom of the screen there. If you like, be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay go.